Warning: this story contains graphic details involving sexual exploitation and dismemberment that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Julio Camacho and Rosa Delgado began seeing each other in 1992 when Rosa was just 16 years old. At the time, Julio was still legally married. The pair welcomed their first daughter, Rosa Rosita Marie Camacho, who we will refer to as Rosita, in 1993, and Rosa applied for state assistance. The state ordered Julio to pay child support to help Rosa raise their daughter, but Julio was already paying child support for 3 other children whom had different mothers, and he wasn't exactly thrilled by the situation. Fast forward to October 24th, 1997, Rosa Delgado left her home around approximately 5 p.m. with her now 4-year-old daughter Rosita. She had just $10 in her wallet and was off to get milk and diapers as she had left her other infant daughter back home in the care of her sister. Unfortunately, neither Rosa or Rosita made it home after their visit to the store that evening. A witness claimed they saw Rosa speaking with Julio Camacho, who was Rosa's former boyfriend as well as the father of Rosita, on a street corner in the neighborhood just before their disappearance. In November of 1997, Julio contacted the court requesting that his child support be canceled for Rosita until a paternity test be completed. He never told the court that Rosa and Rosita were missing. During the same month, 2 duck hunters discovered the body of a woman floating in 3 feet of water in the Columbia Lake located in western New Jersey. It was a gruesome find, as the body had been dismembered. Both hands had been amputated, and the head of the woman's corpse had also been removed from the torso. Neither the head or the hands have ever been located. At the time, the police considered the woman's body a Jane Doe and dubbed her the Lady in the Lake. 2 years later, DNA testing confirmed that the Lady of the Lake was in fact 21-year-old Rosa Delgado. After discovering the identity of the Lady in the Lake, law enforcement questioned Julio Camacho. At the time of Rosa and Rosita's disappearance, Julio was a police officer in Hartford. In 1998, he resigned from his position after he was charged with raping a Connecticut woman on the trunk of his vehicle. Julio was also charged with handcuffing, abducting, and raping 2 prostitutes while on duty. He pled guilty to the charges in 2001 and was sentenced to 10 years in prison, of which he served only 8. Those weren't the only stains on the officer's record, though. In 1989, Julio was charged with 3rd-degree assault for battering his first wife, and he was subsequently let go from the police force, only to be reinstated a year later when the charges were dismissed. Law enforcement considered Julio the main suspect in Rosa's murder, but no charges were ever brought against him. It was reported that Julio did have deep scratches on his body right after the disappearance of Rosa and Rosita, and that his time card showed he was off work at the time of the disappearances. Julio allegedly even asked his brother to give him an alibi for the time of the crime, which doesn't necessarily indicate guilt, but it does add to the mounting circumstantial evidence. Police searched Julio's property and discovered a wire garrote, a handmade hatchet, and 2 sawed-off shotguns, but there was no evidence that specifically linked these items to Rosa's murder or the disappearance of their 4-year-old daughter. Police also noted that the trunk liner was missing from Julio's vehicle and that the trunk bottom had been sanded down. There was no blood or other DNA found in the vehicle belonging to Rosa or Rosita.
Yeah, good morning. The FBI arrived back here this morning just before 8 o'clock. Take a look behind me. A lot going on now. About a dozen agents here along with several big trucks and heavy equipment. The area is all taped off about 100 yards away from the house. Now, it appears they are centered around the front part of the yard at this point. Now, they are still pretty tight-lipped about this search, but what we do know is this is the same property tied to an unsolved murder investigation and disappearance of a 4-year-old girl in the late 90s. FBI agents spent all day Tuesday digging up this Prospect Hill Road property in Cromwell, combing over the yard, sifting through dirt, looking for something. Authorities wouldn't say what that is. but we did confirm this property used to belong to former Hartford police officer Julio Camacho, who was the prime suspect in the 1997 disappearance of his girlfriend, Rosa Delgado, and their 4-year-old daughter, Rosita. Camacho was accused but never charged in what is now a 17-year cold case. In 1998, Delgado's headless, handless body was found in a swamp in New Jersey, but Rosita was never found.
While it appears there is enough circumstantial evidence to charge Julio, and that the possible motive would be that he did not want to pay child support, prosecutors have decided to hold off on pressing charges until they have a stronger case against him, which may never come. Julio is currently out of prison, and no one has ever been charged with the homicide of Rosa Delgado. Rosita Camacho is still missing and considered endangered, if she is even alive. At the time of her disappearance, Rosita was just 4 years old. She has brown hair, brown eyes, and is Hispanic. She was wearing a black jacket and blue pants. If alive today, she would be 26 years old. At the time of her disappearance, she spoke Spanish, but now she might speak English. If you remember seeing anything from the day of her disappearance, or if you recognize her now from the age-progressed pictures, please contact the Hartford Police Department at 860-527-6300.